Attention Commanders fans, today we've got some news that's going to raise some eyebrows and get every Washington fan's blood pumping. Let's get right into it. A rival player talking smack about our offense? That's right. We've got a cornerback from Chicago who's not holding back and is coming in hot. He's underestimating us and says it doesn't matter whether we face our star QB or the backup. Do they really think we're just going to let those comments slide? Get ready, because this Sunday, Washington is ready to respond on the field. Don't miss a second of this breakdown because this matchup is shaping up to be unforgettable. Surprise at the reunion. The defensive end we let go to Chicago will finally get the chance to prove whether that move was the right call. After years in Washington, he's in another city. But this weekend, he'll have to come back home and face us head-on. Will the Commanders regret letting him go? Or will this reunion make it clear that Washington has the right pieces to move forward? Stick around until the end to find out why this clash could be pivotal for our season and what's really at stake with every hit. And our young cornerback. This guy needs to get his killer instinct back and show he's the ball hawk Washington needs on defense. After an interception last week, can he solidify his spot on the team? This isn't just any game. It's his chance to prove to everyone that Washington didn't make a mistake in drafting him. Listen up, Washington Commanders fans. Because today, I've got some news that's going to ignite like gasoline on fire. Jaylen Johnson, the Bears cornerback, has dropped a bold and even disrespectful statement. The guy doesn't even bother to find out who our quarterback is going to be this Sunday. Jayden Daniels or Marcus Mariota. Because according to him, they're going to smack us around anyway. So I ask you, is this disrespect a motivation or a provocation? Because I'll tell you this, with that attitude, Johnson's putting a big target on the Bears' back. Now what does this really mean? Daniels is questionable for Sunday due to a rib injury, and Mariota had to step in last game. And look, Mariota shined with 205 yards and 2 touchdowns in a crushing victory over Carolina. But Johnson keeps insisting he doesn't care. He doesn't care who's throwing the ball. He's convinced the Bears' defense is going to shut down the Commanders. I'll tell you, that's pride, and maybe a bit too much confidence. Because who dares to underestimate our team like that? Remember this, Commanders family. The last time someone talked trash about us, we ended up steamrolling the Bengals on Monday Night Football. Our head coach Dan Quinn was right there, using the opponent's words as the perfect motivation. And frankly, that's how I want to see our guys this Sunday. Because I'm telling you, this isn't just a game, it's a battle for respect. I believe this is the perfect moment for the Commanders to show who's in charge. Whether it's Mariota or Daniels taking the field, they've got to give it their all. And our defense even more so. Now I ask you fans, do you want to see this team come out with the pride and strength of a true storm? Do you want to see how we respond to Jaylen Johnson's words? Because let me tell you, folks, nothing brings out the best in our Commanders like the energy of an offense. So fans, tell me in the comments, do you think these words will unleash the fury of the Commanders? Or will this motivate us to go all out this Sunday? And if you believe in this team, in this jersey, leave your thoughts, subscribe, and share. Because this Sunday isn't just a game. It's our chance to show that the Commanders won't be disrespected. Let's get to the point, Commanders fans. What do you think about this trade? Montez Sweat, our former DE, now with the Bears. What does that mean for the team? Because I'll tell you this, Washington, as everyone knows, has taken huge steps in the past year with new owners, a new coach, and even a new quarterback. And seeing a former player like Sweat talk about being in a place where he's really wanted, that makes me think, did Washington not want him enough? I think it's time to question the decision to trade a talent like him for a second-round pick. Sweat gave us solid numbers, 233 tackles, 54 tackles for loss, and 44 sacks. You can't deny that his production in Washington was crucial, and that kind of player isn't easy to find. And now he's off having a dream season with 12.5 sacks between the two teams. So I ask you, did we really let him go at the right time? But don't get me wrong, this team, under new owner Josh Harris and GM Adam Peters, is clearly in rebuild mode. Harris wanted draft capital, he wanted to revamp the team, and in the long run, that's smart. We've got a young squad led by Jayden Daniels, and the future looks bright. But here's where my doubt comes in. Was Sweat really expendable? For me, this decision was strictly business, but that doesn't stop us from asking, how well is this strategy going to work in the long run? The Bears signed him to a 4-year extension, which shows Sweat's talent is valued. And when we see him facing off against his former teammates this Sunday, do you think he'll have a special fire? I say yes. And if he feels like he was let go, it's likely he'll want to prove Washington made a mistake. What worries me, and I want you to think about this too, is how we're going to improve on defense without that kind of player. Yes, we're building from the ground up and have new faces on the team, but isn't it a risk to let go of someone who is a key piece on the defensive line? So now I ask you, do you think Washington made the right call in letting Sweat go? Are we going to miss that intensity on the field, that hunger that he undoubtedly brings every week? All right, Commanders fans, I've got an exclusive, and it's hot. What's going to happen with Emmanuel Forbes? Yes, that's right, the same guy. The cornerback who was supposed to be an interception magnet for our defense, a first-round pick, and here we are wondering if he fits into this team's long-term plans. But let me tell you this, he already showed us his magic last week against the Panthers. Remember that interception? That's where Forbes' value lies, and that was the glimpse of what we were hoping for when we brought him to Washington. Now, I hear you asking, is that performance enough to give him a guaranteed spot on the team? I don't think so. I'll tell you this, one flash isn't enough. We need consistency. Forbes was picked specifically for being an interception machine at Mississippi State, and here in the NFL, we want to see that every week. Otherwise, it's hard to justify his role on a team that wants to win today, tomorrow, and always. And look, what Joe Witt Jr., our defensive coordinator, recently said says it all. According to Witt, every player has to contribute each week to give us the best chance to win. There's no room for half measures. But here's where it gets interesting, folks. Witt also mentioned that this team is looking for development. So what does that mean? Is Forbes really a future investment? I ask you, is it possible to build a winning defense while developing young players like Forbes? You tell me. To be clear, the issue isn't Forbes' natural ability to find the ball. We already know that. He proved it in college. The real challenge is seeing if he can maintain that same energy, that same savvy, when he faces the NFL elite week in and week out. Because it's not enough to have an interception every couple of months. We need Forbes to become the ball hawk we were promised. And look, I'm not saying this lightly, but what message are we sending if we keep betting on a player who hasn't shown that level of consistency yet? Now, I want you to ask yourselves, do we want to give Forbes more time, knowing that this gamble could cost us on defense every week? Or is it time to look for alternatives for that position? It's a tough decision, and I get it. But believe me, these Commanders can't afford to experiment for too long. Not when the goal is to win now. So friends, here it is. Do you think Forbes can become the cornerback this team needs to take that defensive leap? I want to hear your thoughts. Listen up, Commanders fans. Now I want to ask you, do you think these taunts about us getting blown out are going to ignite our team's fury? Or do you think they'll drive us to give it our all this Sunday to prove who we really are on the field? Let me know your thoughts in the comments. Moving on to another key point, I want to hear from you. Was it a good decision to let Sweat go? Are we going to feel his absence when it comes to that intensity he brings every week? Washington made a bold choice, but do you support it? Or do you think we're going to miss that grit on every play? I want to read your comments. Lastly, a final thought. Should we give Forbes more time, knowing the risks it carries for our defense week in and week out? Or is it time to consider alternatives to strengthen that position? Share your ideas, expectations, and what you think could improve our Commanders. So if you're a true fan, this is the place for you. Join this community that's more than just a channel. It's a family. Hit that subscribe button and join us on this exciting journey of victories and challenges. And remember, hail to the Redskins.